Hi. So grateful. And times.
All right, come on up now.
No, I'm grateful that for Abraham, of course, but more for Esther, that she is translating Abraham to us. And
Esther appreciates that, but she also wants you to know that you don't need her for this. She's an example of letting it in, and she's been at it for a while, but you're letting it in too.
but she led me to Abraham.
Yeah, she made it more obvious. That's what we were talking about earlier, making your alignment more obvious. Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that I live in the same lifetime as Esther, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you all keep doing that over and over and over again because you got a good thing going. In other words, you come in clusters. You do. You do.
No.
Yeah.
My life, everything started with that book, Secret, with the book. And then I saw the movie later on with my boyfriend, now my husband. And obviously, I saw the old version of the movie with Esther in. And then we saw the movie again, and there wasn't Esther in. And I said to him, but where's the woman? And he said, what woman? But there is one woman missing. And I didn't know anything about Abraham or Esther. And then I felt the urge to seek her and to see who she is, because everything she said resonated with me. And I didn't know what we in her speech meant. Why did she say we all the time? And who are we?
Weird, isn't it?
And then, of course, it wasn't an accident, but something happened on Facebook or YouTube, I don't know. I saw Esther in her 40s with Jerry in some workshop, very small room, and she was talking about stream of well-being. And then I read about Esther and Abraham, and I understood the whole thing. Who are they, and what was she doing? And then she was only a translator.
So what you're describing is your steady point of attraction. And that's what we mean when we say you don't show up at the dock and miss your ship. There's another and another and another
Yes.
and another and another. In other words, whatever you are vibrationally ready to allow, there you are.
Yes. Of course, that came only more and more of those things. And I think that I understand all the philosophy and the point and what Abraham says about life.
Those are as good a words as any. This is how it goes. This is how it goes.
And I think I understand. And step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and everything. But what I need myself personally is the tools to love myself more and the most of everything and everyone. It feels selfish to me. And I know that that's the only way to feel myself, to love myself the most of everything and everyone, to be selfish. But that catch-22 that makes me always doubt if I'm too selfish. And that's prevented me.
Well, there's a pretty easy way to understand this. This is going to explain to you the flaw in your reasoning. Anyone who feels guilty about loving themselves or who feels that you should be serving others, here's the flaw in your reasoning. When you're tending to your point of attraction, you are in concert with your inner being. And that is the biggest win for you. But it's not only a win for you, it's a win for anyone in your gaze, anyone in your thoughts, anyone in your focus. When you are in alignment with who you are and you are holding anything as your object of attention, you are part of that flow, you are part of that soothing, you are part of that solution. Now, that was a little bit of a sales job to get you to be willing to love yourself more. But there's a simpler way to do it. When you're not in sync with source, let's just call source energy love. And we want to explain. Frequency of no resistance. What is love? Love is the way your solar plexus feel when the chemicals in your body have been orchestrated from broader perspective, because in your alignment, source energy is sending the impulse and your body is responding. Love is the relationship between you and your inner being, and the feeling of love is you and your inner being in total agreement. That's what love is. You and your inner being in total agreement. You and your inner being in total agreement. So if you are not loving yourself, you've practiced being out of agreement with your inner being. And the way that people focus themselves out of agreement with their inner being is that they're choosing to be in agreement with others. It's the story we've been telling all the time we've been together about calibrating to someone, human. Don't you be selfish. You need to serve others. You need to serve others. Well, the way you serve others is by hooking up to what you're serving. If you're not selfish enough to tune into all that you are, you don't have anything to give. And so it really is win-win. You have to hook up to it in order to give it. And so the greatest service to others is to serve yourself by connecting to the energy that creates worlds and its understanding and knowing and appreciation of you. And without that, hardly anything in comparison happens. That is a good sales job.
The problem is that I understand everything of that, and I always remind myself of that.
So how do you think you've calibrated otherwise? We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but what is the practiced thought? As you continue to say, I don't love myself.
It's not that I don't love myself. I don't love myself enough for it to be
Well, it doesn't matter
the biggest love.
the degree of it. Why in the world would you not love yourself when your inner being loves you so much?
I know that.
Well, you know what the ironic reason is? Oh, this is so good. Your inner being has such clear understanding of who you are, an absence of any resistance in that understanding. And when you don't match that, you feel terrible, and you relate it to the subject of loving yourself. Isn't that interesting? What word would you use that's on the other end of the stick from love? You said, I don't love myself enough. So what is the emotion that you want to assign to that? I don't love myself enough. What's on the other end of that? Love,
Maybe
loathe.
I doubt. Not loathe. I don't love myself. Maybe I doubt myself, or I worry too much about other people. I think that comes in the way of loving myself first and foremost. I worry that I don't help enough, or I worry that I might hurt somebody. So my focus changes all the time.
We have something very important for you to hear. You are not the law of attraction, and you are not the creator of their reality. And what happens to them is because they're matching up with something. And so you've got to give yourself a break and let all of them off the hook too. You're not doing that. So many people in your world, and it's true of all of you, in their lack of self-love, they've been looking for it somewhere, and they've been misunderstanding what it is, so they're trying to get it from you. And what makes them believe that you love them is that you serve them, that you think about them first, that you are considerate of them always, that you put yourself out, that the more pain that you experience, the more you love them. One day, many, many years ago, Esther gave someone in her family, a youngster, $50. And this little girl had never had $50 all at once. And she went to her mother and she said, oh, I feel so guilty. Esther gave me $50. And her mother explained, oh, that's like $1 to Esther. Well, wrong message. We want to say to you, first of all, stop saying this. Stop saying that you don't love yourself. Stop saying that you don't love yourself enough. That's not helping. That's just keeping it going. But it feels like, well, I need to say where I am in order to explain so that I can find a solution. Let's think about everything like this. The focus on what I don't have is not going to get me what I want. The law of attraction doesn't work that way. And we know you know that. That's what you keep trying to explain. You know all of this stuff. So
I just need some.
Is there anybody you're pretty sure you love?
Yes.
Who is it? Just tell us the one that comes most easily to mind.
My kids.
All right, so which one? So focus on someone that you know for sure that you love. You know what you're doing when you do that? Self-love. Because you are choosing an object of attention that's matching you up with your inner being. That's self-love. when you feel doubt, not self-love. When you feel sure, self-love. So is there anything you're sure about?
That love I'm sure about to my kids.
So interesting, isn't it? I'm sure about that love. So there's no doubt then, is there? Doubt was what you were putting on the other end of that stick. Isn't that interesting? Is it starting to break through just a little bit? Isn't it shocking? Abraham, you mean I don't have to choose them or me? That when I love them, I'm also choosing me? That any time that I'm wise enough and deliberate enough to focus upon something that feels good, and I stay there long enough until I feel that crescendo, that escalation in that feeling, until I've connected with love, that now I am love. Self-love is being love. And it doesn't matter what the object of your attention is. Self-love is being love. Being who you really are. Jerry wanted to put on all the spines of all the books in all the bookstores, self-help from your total self. Because he wanted to emphasize that alignment is where all the help comes from. Is that helpful at all?
Yes.
That's big, isn't it? When you are loving anything, you're practicing self-love.
I actually felt it with my kids. I was completely without resistance. And I guess I was more in sync with my inner
So now
being.
we're going to give you another tool. Because we know you're there. We know you got that. You felt that shift. Your point of attraction shifted. Here's the next tool in our bag of tricks. Self-love is focusing on something that evokes that feeling of love. Just stay there for a little bit. Let different things come to mind. You can make a list, or you can choose one thing. Because in a focused moment, with no distraction, there is an automatic escalation so that you can feel it more and feel it more. So when you feel like you're in love with someone, actually, they're not the reason for your love that you think. You're just using them as the excuse to tune into who you really are. Even when you are loving your child or your lover and you feel so in love, what that feeling is alignment with your inner being. So when you say to someone, if you were really accurate, instead of saying, I love you so much, what you would say if you were really wanting to be vibrationally accurate is, my attention upon you has connected me with what is love.
I'm not sure they're going to understand that, but...
They're not, but if you do, we're talking to you. You're just my excuse to hook up with who I really am. And the thing is, if you want a long-lasting love, then figure that out. And figure out that watching the birds and swimming with the dolphins and taking a hike in the park and getting out on the water and getting out and breathing fresh air and eating something delicious and all those things that feel good to you and feel good to you and feel good to you and feel good to you all keep you hooked in with this vibration of love. And then before long, you are loving almost everyone you see. And when you are loving almost everyone you see, you got self-love going on, because you can't love anyone without being in alignment with who you are. Love has been misunderstood. Love is the vibrational indicator that lets you know that you are in complete sync with who you are. Sync with who you are. That there's no resistance in your vibration right now. Right now I'm tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and I'm holding you as my object of attention. And it looks like I'm in love with you, but really I'm just love looking at you. So it's not possible to give yourself away, because you did that before you could do that. And what's interesting with humans, we love you so much, but you think that that person came first and caused the love. But the love is alignment. It worked the other way. Alignment, then love. Not object of attention and then love. You're not the reason that I love, because what is love? What is love? Let's define it. What is love? Love is the indication of alignment with your source. That's love. That's love. People have it backwards. They think that object of attention is the reason for my love.